Upcycling can go so wrong, so I'm going to leave you some tips so it doesn't. Upcycling, it's a wonderful way of creating your own stuff because it means it's unique, it's something no one else is going to have, and it's a good way of recycling. All those items that you don't wear anymore, you can recycle and transform in something else, so it's ideal not to throw anything in the bin. I've done more upcycling than what I have here because I've also made it for friends and family. For my sister-in-law, I transformed her jacket and I added a manton on the back with fringes. It looks amazing. And for my friend, I transformed a jacket into a waistcoat and a dress into a skirt. And for example, this one is a dress I made out of a scarf, which I can still use as a scarf, which is important. And then of course the rest, a dress from a dressing gown, a skirt from a tracksuit, and another one from a pair of jeans. Of course, a handbag out of 2 pairs of jeans, and one of them I had used previously for a pinafore. Lots of things. You can make loads, so just try. And if you like this kind of video, consider subscribing because I upload twice a week, and that way you don't miss anything because we sew. I am truly a fan of upcycling. I love it because I love making the most of stuff I have around. And if you're a beginner in this sewing world, it's ideal because if it's something you don't wear anymore, you're not going to be afraid of cutting it up. And apart from this, there's all the benefits you get straight from it. It's a very creative project because it needs lots of creativity and originality. If you're going to make a dress, for example, and you can have, imagine, all the fabric you need, it's easier because you are starting from scratch. But if you have a pair of jeans or a skirt that you have to transform into something else, you have a limited amount of fabric you can use, and there's a limited design you can get out of there. So it's very creative. But it has lots of risks, and there are a few things that can go wrong. The first thing you have to take into account is if your item it's really worn, if it's been washed loads of time, if it's 20 years old, maybe it's worn on different areas in different ways, and then when you sew it, it won't behave the same and it won't fit as you were hoping of. Another thing you have to take into account is materials. If you're going to use different fabrics for the same project, 1 or 2, you have to take into account the different widths they have, how thick they are and how they behave. Because again, if you have a thin fabric and a thicker one, once you finish, maybe it doesn't fit as you were hoping. So take that into account as well and try to mix similar materials. Another thing we have to take into account is skills. The skills we have in sewing and what we need to do with that kind of fabric. And not only skills if we know how to sew it, but if we have the proper tools to sew it. If we're working with a thicker fabric or something special, we need to make sure how to do it before we ruin it and how to finish it as well so it looks nice. And it might not seem like it, but one thing that takes is time. You have to take into account that you are cutting apart something already made, so you have to be careful with the seams or what to cut and what not to cut, so you can use the fabric you have. Sometimes it's easier to start from scratch with a new piece of fabric because you cut and you're not worried about all of this. But if you want to make the most of something you have to be careful and it takes time. And of course, for me, the most important part is the design. You want it to be handmade, but you don't want it to look homemade, like to look weird or that is badly done. You want it to look nice and to be proud of wearing it. For example, this kimono I made out of a blouse I didn't wear anymore. Lots of people hated it because I think it's a mistake on the design, because I didn't have enough fringes to put them round the bottom, round the hemline, which is where they usually go. So I put them on my wrist. I'm still comfortable. They don't bother me, and I've worn it and it's good, but lots of people have really hated it. So think about the design. And one thing you have to be is open-minded, because something is going to go wrong at some point. A seam is not going to settle well, or something you didn't expect is going to happen. So you have to have an open mind and see how you can fix it. I think all of my upcycling projects have had a difficulty at some point. For example, on this one, I think it was the waistline. Then on the skirt I added top stitching because the seam wasn't settling. I think this one I couldn't cut as long as I wanted it, but it's shorter because of the buttonhole and things like that. So try to have an open mind and try to see how you can fix it or how you can avoid throwing it away. Because if you have a plan B, you can make the most out of it. And of course, before you start cutting, have a plan B, just in case something doesn't work out. And how to upcycle with success? You have to take into account that the fabrics you're going to use, the items, the garments you're going to repurpose are in good condition. They are not worn and you can still use them. So take everything and put it all together so you can have a look every once in a while to inspire yourself. But if you don't have that inspiration and you can straight think, well, from this I'm going to sew that, I'm going to transform it into this piece, have a look on the internet. There are millions of ideas that you can have a look at and you can recreate to practice. And of course, design, measure and redesign and have your plan B just in case, because you want it to look nice. So make sure it fits, make sure what you want to do fits in that garment and is the right fabric for that purpose. I'm passionate about upcycling. I think it's a very fun way and very creative way to recycle and to make the most out of stuff you've got, like I've said a million times already, and I really enjoy it. I leave you a link to all of this in the description box down below and here in the end, so you can have a look and maybe get some ideas. And if you're not, consider subscribing, because I upload twice a week, and that way you don't miss anything, because we do a lot here. Bye, I'll see you next week. Esto lo iba a decir después.